Welcome everybody. This is Matt Monarch with the Raw Food World TV show. Lighting looks, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right. So let's wait for the viewers to build up for a second. All right. It's coming. It's coming. I feel it. I feel it. It's a big one tonight. Oh, it's a big one tonight. Can you feel the energy downpouring on you? Okay. That was an old school joke from like 15 years ago in the Raw Foods movement. Anyways, what we're going to do is start this bad boy. I had complaints about not doing spiritual, when in the old days it was the opposite. So this kind of excites me. It's going to be physical and spiritual tonight. What's up, Jacqueline Bell? And in about 15 to 30 minutes, I'm going to go into why I refused doctors when internally bleeding every single day. Just drip, drip, drip into the toilet. But before that, I've got questions that I have to answer from people in regards to, one of the things was, the reason why I wasn't going spiritual, I wasn't getting any questions. I've got a lot of questions because everyone went crazy on that video, but keep asking your questions. I'm sure I'll get to all of them, but if I don't, it has to be like a continual thing. Elise, where's your questions? You said you were gonna ask me some every week. She was a retreat guest and is rocking the house. She actually, I don't need to tell her personal story. Okay, so you guys ready? You guys ready for the questions? Let's see. Okay, good. Where do I want to put this? Maybe right. I just want to see how the viewers are doing. Okay. We ready? We ready? We ready? Let's do it. Okay. Spiritual question for your next hangout. I'm still just waiting a little bit longer for the viewers to pop up. They're going like crazy. I would like to say congratulations to all the winners in the contest from last night. This is the second hangout for this week. So we're about to get started with it. 3 lucky winners won all expenses paid retreat vacations. Within the next few days, we should have a list of all the winners. We'll post it online if you weren't able to watch the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, let's just do this. Let's just begin. Okay, spiritual question for your next hangout. I am a mom to a 4.5-year-old baby, 4.5-year-old boy. I would love to know more about how and what spiritual teaching you do with your daughters, manifestation, mindfulness, gratitude, any tips to start them young on a spiritual path, and what have you learned from them? Thanks. Okay, number one is I don't do any practices like that with my children. I mean, I tell them to say thank you and please and stuff like that. But there's a much more potent thing that we can be doing for our children, I personally feel. So we all have a certain level of unconsciousness. However, everybody sees everything. Okay, Sorry, I have a backup. I could go in my other internet connection. If this doesn't work, it just went down for a second, but we're back. Crystal, can you confirm that we're live? It's best to tell me on Facebook because I can see this the best. Okay, so back to the question. What kind of spiritual practices do you do with your children? The best thing that you can do is do the best you can yourself spiritually. Because they see everything. Some people are more conscious, some people aren't, but everything is seen, and kids see more a lot of the time. So this is like pretty critical. So for example, a person can be teaching their, let's look at Christianity, for example. There's a lot of children that rebel against their parents in Christianity in the long run. This is very, very common. Why is this? Well, they're teaching Christianity as almost like a this, and are they actually following the commandments, for example? Like, for example, a married mom might be at the church and she's fantasizing and picking up, like sending vibes out on this other hot looking dad. Now, if you look at the commandments and what he said in, or what Jesus Christ said in, we're not going to get all biblical here, but I'm just saying, I'm just giving an example. We're going to go into shamanistic traditions also. He says, even thinking or even just like thinking about that is committing supposedly adultery. So your children see that on some level, whether they're going to retain it or not, it's there. It's like there's no spiritual practice to stop your mind from going there and fantasizing. You're more into the frills. Oh, that feels so good. And then you loop it. So now you're teaching your children, and everybody else sees it on some level, whether they're conscious about it later or not is a different story. They see it also. So if you want to be like talking about like all these different things and saying, oh, let's be grateful and stuff like this, but you're not grateful at all, what's the point? Like when you're angry, everybody knows you're angry. And it's kind of like the same concept. So with our children, with my children, the first step that I really needed to do when I wanted to like make sure that they're spiritually good was to realize that I am a piece of crap and I need to change. So working on yourself is the best spiritual practice you can do for your children. And the people we have authority over, number one, is our children. So especially when they're young, unless you allow something else, then if you like feel like this feeling or thought of sex or greed and you kind of just like work it out, or anger and you work it out and you don't go nutso, you might be actually helping them out. It's like a major thing to just be doing the work on an ongoing basis. That's the best thing you can do for your children. So pretty much everything is silent with me and my children. I mean, I do speak verbally here and there when there's like key moments where I could just like throw something in. But the main thing is just to do on an ongoing basis. Just to do. Is there anything else about that? That's it. Okay. So shortly, we're going to go into why I refused doctors when I was internally bleeding every single day. We're going to unbrainwash ourselves a little bit about this whole entire concept. In a little bit, let's answer some more questions. Okay, so yes, my question in advance in Vibe, best-selling author by this person, reveals the difference between low vibration emotions, fear, anger, inertia, and high vibration emotions, love, inner peace, gratitude, and helps readers dramatically impact their physical and mental well-being by raising their vibrational frequencies. The question: will you please add your experience of this phenomena of vibrational states in mind, body, soul, and food? Cheers, Jackie. Okay. Okay. Okay, so in this world that we live in, okay, there's a physical world, which is like everything that could be measured. And then there's a spiritual world, which you can't see with the human eye. So what many different people have done, such as this author, many prominent psychologists and all these different things, they've taken the spiritual world, which is invisible, and all the feelings and the vibrations, they realize that when you do this, this happens. When you do that, this happens. So they talk about all these different concepts, and it's almost like they're taking the invisible world and trying to teach people through a mapping, which can be very powerful and potent and help people. So what is happening in this invisible world is pretty much by using our sixth sense. What these people have done, they've used their sixth sense. And what I mean by the sixth sense is this. We all have five senses. We all know this: touch, taste, smell, sound. These are all points of feelings. We can feel everything. However, all those five senses we experience. However, there's more beyond that we experience than those five senses. And anything beyond those five senses, like you could focus on hearing, you hear. You could focus on touch. You could feel all these different areas of touch. Anything that you feel that is not the five senses is the sixth sense. This kind of is the spiritual world. This is the invisible world. We're using our sixth sense to see what's going on. If we pay attention, we can kind of get more sight in that world on some sort of level. In shamanistic traditions, they state that there's things like serpents and rudivipers. If you look at Christianity, he's talking about demons and rudivipers, actually. Like there's all these scriptures actually talk about this invisible world, where obviously some people can actually see it, whether they're gifted or whatever. That's, I don't know. So what people have done is they've created maps, and it works to a specific point. It could bring a person like bam, really high, but you kind of get like, you can't go past a certain point with that. You're stuck right here. And the reason for that is because this invisible world has been around for a very long time. And there's a lot of understanding of humans, like if I zap this person this way, they're gonna react this way. It's like already, it's automatic. If someone follows the map perfectly, there's a cleverness in the spiritual world. Okay, we're back. I had to come to my office on this other internet connection. Oh, And now I just ended Facebook. Sorry, guys. I'm on another internet connection, so we shouldn't have any issues. Lighting's not as nice. We're in my office. You can see my bathroom, actually. We're going live again. Okay, so we're back. I don't know where I left off. Let's just continue on to the next question here. I'm just saying there's a cleverness that it doesn't always work at a certain point. So you have to, there's what I've always been saying about a shortcut. Some people call it the source. Some people call it the highest spirit of all. Some people call it the creator of all living things. Some people call it God. This is the shortcut. All right. So moving along, here's my questions. I had them on here. I think we're going to go straight into, okay. Okay. If you had to give up 3 things that you loved in this world, what would they be and in what order? That's kind of I got to think about that. Number 1 would be being right. I love being right. I'd definitely get rid of that one. Yeah, I'll have to think about that one. Anyways, what we're going to do now is we're going to go into why I decided, okay, good, we got a lot of viewers, why I decided to not get doctor's help when internally bleeding. What we're going to do is we're going to try to do a little bit of unbrainwashing here. Okay, so this is how we're going to start. Let's talk about the moon. Everybody thinks the moon is round. Man has like landed on it before. But if you look up in the sky and you look at the moon, it's just a flat circle. It's actually not, nobody's actually ever been on it. When people went on it and they videotaped it, that was actually in a studio. And there's proof when you look at all these videos, you can actually see like camera lights like reflecting off somewhere, that it wasn't really something that truly happened. So many of you are probably asking like, okay, what about all these astronauts that went and have testified and stuff like this? That is also fake. Those were people who were highly paid. If you look at their backgrounds, some of it's erased. All of these different things are happening. And what I'm telling you right now is actually completely made up. But there's a purpose for me telling you this. Some of you maybe you even believed it. What I'm trying to show you is here you are watching TV, and I have just fed you information that can be very believable. So we shouldn't necessarily believe everything we hear. So now, if you look at the system and television and YouTube, this is what is feeding us information on an ongoing basis. There is something that created CNN, and they are choosing what you see they're almost like creating a story for you. So this is the system we live in, and the reality, this is the system. This is the reality that is being portrayed on you, on us. It's one reason why a lot of people say, hey, I haven't watched the news. But what's really happening? What's really happening is nothing. Just living. My hand. This is what's happening right now. I'm looking at my hand right now. I'm going to go walk around this is reality. So the reason I'm telling you this is like a matrix construct. Now, let's look at the doctor's matrix construct, the hospital system. Now, if you look at the hospital system, some entity chose what is what based off of scientific facts that we all know you can take. Can you get protein on a raw food diet? You will hear a million reasons why you can, scientific facts, and a million reasons why you can't, a million. It all depends where you're looking to brainwash us. So what I'm saying is the system that was created that gives out pharmaceutical drugs was created by something, and this is how it worked. I actually have some friends that are doctors from when I was in high school. And one of my best friends is a doctor now, and his original intent was really good. He was like, I want to become a doctor. I'm going to do this, you know, I'm excited. I'm going to have a good life, good children, good life. Doctors' intents are really good. But what happens is that this doctor's matrix construct twists their intent for good and uses it for their desires. What happens is they're thrown in school studying for 8 years straight, all the way through the evening, late nights, nonstop. They're not even like thinking straight anymore. They don't get sleep. Their family is like saying, you need to be a doctor. This is good. You're a successful boy. Everything supports this system, this money-driven system. So now this doctor who doesn't use his own mind to help heal people, he was brainwashed by some entity that created a construct that he had to suffer through for 8 years. And this is what all doctors go by. So do you really think that I'm going to submit myself bleeding internally every day to some brainwashed kids whose intent was good and it was twisted? I'm not saying that don't go to the doctor. I'm just trying to open your minds here. What would going to the doctor do for a person with one of the worst diseases, cancer? What can they do? The doctors know only from what they were brainwashed with. Okay, you have to do chemotherapy or you're going to die. More people die of chemotherapy probably than, I don't know. I don't know the statistics, but all these natural doctors are saying that it's no good. So you could do chemotherapy. Crystal's boyfriend's uncle went the chemotherapy route, was suffering till the day he died, saying, I would rather have lived in my own home, died of cancer in my bed. And when you go to the hospital, they put such force on you to where you say you have to do this. You would have to fight, sign crazy amounts of documents to avoid getting their treatment. Do I even want to go there? While they tell you these are your only options, scaring you, causing more stress and tension, which actually feeds this disease, and so on. Disclaimer really quick, I am not a doctor. I'm here just telling you everything based off of experience. Go talk to a medical professional before making any changes. This is just based off of experience. So let's look at, okay, I'm bleeding internally. Let's just see if I went to the doctors, what they could have done for me. Okay, I'm at the doctor. So now all the people that work there are taking all their information. They're not like thinking like, let me look at you and see how they're going based off the books at some entity created. Who is that? Who created this? There's a lot of money involved, I'll tell you that, with the pharmaceutical drugs and stuff. What is their true intent? So let's just say I went to the doctor. I go to the doctor. Hey, I'm bleeding internally with blood in the toilet every single day. Sometimes maybe even a teaspoon. Okay, let's do a colonoscopy. Okay, I could do that. Let's just say they discover where it is. What's the difference, whether it's in my stomach, my colon, or whatever? What is that going to do for me? How can I address that? A different pharmaceutical drug? that I'll be dependent on for the rest of my life, going into the belief that this is my ongoing disease forever and I'm stuck, what can they do for me? Cut my colon and sew it back up shorter? I have family where they had acid reflux, got cancer. They cut the esophagus out and pulled the stomach up, and now we can't even freaking eat. What can they do for me? In my opinion, I'm not a doctor. Go see, this is my experience. Absolutely nothing. And then if I submit myself, they're going to try everything in their power to get me on pharmaceutical drugs. They can have their vacation, whatever they have to do. They just do the book that was fed to them from 8 years of medical school. So what on earth, what can they're going to say either do surgery, take this drug, don't eat this, this, and this, and their dietary things would be like eat baked potato. They tell me things that would probably mess me up, a 20-year raw food eater for so long, like crazy. Their dietary advice is ridiculous, like really bad. What they feed patients is ridiculous. What could they do for me? They could cut me, surgery, give me drugs, make poor recommendations for my diet. They have no concept of what I do on my dietary lifestyle. What else can they do? What else can be done in the hospital? Absolutely nothing from my perspective. Yes, you get in a car accident, they can fix you and things like that. That's great. That's great. But who runs this? Who created the matrix construct that was developed that all the doctors read in the name of science? Clinical studies show one thing, and another clinical study was coffee's good for you, but it's also bad for you. Who's right? Oh, this incision is good for you, but this one isn't. What? Who made this crap up? That's what I want to know. So this is the main reason why I was not going to submit myself to doctors. And why, just like this person's uncle, I would rather die, which I wasn't scared of, I've got faith, than go into the hospital and then end up pooing in a bag for the rest of my life because they stitched me back up and took a portion of my colon out and this thread starts coming out. So how did I heal spiritually? We already talked about this in the previous Hangout. I'll go a little bit deeper. So I was determined to figure this out, and what I've started to do was I would feel this area of pain within my body. It feels like it's in the colon. I don't think it's the stomach. But anyways, I would go to this it's a physical pain that it was like something spiritual was going on that manifested in the physical. So what I talked about in a previous Hangout was I went into complete relaxation. I would focus and find like all of the tension everywhere and relax. And then it would almost be like I would feel things like attachment. I don't know what, we're not going to go into that, but I would relax so much to where I just like could even breathe deeper. It's like I was relaxing so much, removing these tensions, tension after tension after tension. And then I was like, oh my goodness, that feels so good, relief in that area. But then they would come back. And I would have to learn spiritually, this is spiritual growth, how to work with this. and do it again, and like try not to make as much come back. And then it was a slow progression until it was completely gone. Disease, I personally feel, feeds off of tension. So let's say somebody has colon cancer and you feel that pain right there. And what is happening is generally you're always tight right there. And you go into that tightness and you're like, ow, ow, or any pain that you guys feel, you go into it and there's this like intensity. Da, 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 da. The key is to like relax. For example, I told you all this stuff feeds off of tension. We all learn to, like when anger comes in, to stop it. All of a sudden you're angry, there's kids around you, but you're like, oh man, I can't get angry in front of everybody. You focus and you do the spiritual work to where anger dissipates and leaves. So in terms of anger, the way you do that is not go into the tension of anger. Because if you go into the tension of anger, you're feeding it, and what you're going to start doing, people throw things against the wall. They're tight now. They're not even there. They're just like throwing things. They're punching the wall. They're doing all sorts of things. That's feeding the tension. But in order to get rid of the anger, you focus. You don't go into the tension of the anger, but you kind of like relax the areas all around it on some level until it's gone and it dissipates. And you have spiritually used your sixth sense, because that's not hearing, sight, sound, or smell, or feeling. That's a sixth sense. You did spiritual work. You're actually using your sixth sense that everybody does. It's like we see everything. And boom. So somebody was asking me one of these questions. Matt, you said there was a shortcut in order to do this. I had to take this path so I could kind of teach this type of thing. But some people, I've seen miracles happen to where instant healing, maybe the body takes a year after that healing to occur, but miracles are happening all the time. And what I said in a previous Hangout was make a life change. And again, whether you call it the highest spirit of all, the source, God, the creator of all living things, whatever it is, Jesus Christ, whatever you do, what you do is first off, announce that you're changing. Almost be like, sorry, I want to heal. I want to change who I am. In shamanistic traditions, we were talking about there's openings, spiritual openings. Foreign things can come in and create chaos and can end up into a physical ailment. In biblical scriptures, Jesus Christ would remove disease from people. So spiritually, he's removing something. So the shortcut is to change, and then he would say, sin no more, go your way. And the ones that said thank you were blessed even more. So the shortcut is to change. As I told you, in shamanistic traditions, they say cancer is a black spirit that overtakes a person due to some of their traits that they have. I'm not saying this is what is, I'm just saying what I have studied and read. So this person would need to change. What they say is they tend to like be drawing in, like needy, like just different traits. So they would need to change, get their energy directly from the source, whatever it is. Maybe they're doing something really wrong on an ongoing basis. Maybe they're doing something really bad to someone on an ongoing basis. I don't know. But the shortcut is to change and beg and plead, pray, whatever it is. And then you might not have to go through all the suffering and everything that you need to do in order to heal. It could be just like, but the issue is, if this happens, a miracle, and you don't change, it could come back. So you probably didn't learn your lesson. And that's why sometimes the longer route might be better for a person, because they learn the long way. And when they finally get to the end, they're just like, there's no way I'm ever doing that again. I like shortcuts whenever I can. But you have to like change, be a better person, whatever it is that you have to do. So, number one, we talked about there's no way I'm going to submit myself to kids with good intent who got brainwashed and got twisted. They're still good people, deep, but they're tired. They're worn. They know something's not right. It's just like they're moving all day long, all day long, all day long. It's a system that's been in place. And if they don't follow the system, get out. And then there's many doctors that were MD doctors. They realized they got this awakening where they awakened from the hospital system matrix construct, and now they're natural. But you've got to watch out for the natural doctors too. Remember, we were talking about earlier, this is like a construct where any TV that you look at, YouTube, whatever, you are being fed information. You got to watch out for me. I'm just, man, I don't know what I try to do my best. So if you look at these natural doctors, maybe a lot of them are really good, but maybe some of them aren't. Maybe they're creating other diseases. Oh, you need to take these natural supplements and supplements and supplements for the rest of your life. In their loop, they're taking you from one conspiracy theory. Did 9/11 happen or not? There is literally crazy amounts of pages and pages of proof of 9/11 that it was planned. If you're gonna like put your energy and look into that, you are gonna know that that's what happened. But is it really? Someone made all this up. Whether it's real or not, they put it together. Whether you are for Donald Trump or not Donald Trump. If you're not for Donald Trump, maybe you're watching CNN or other news channels and they're feeding you their side, or maybe you're on Donald Trump's email list and he's feeding you his side. They're both trying to create something for you to believe in. When in actuality, none of that's to believe in. When we do these things, we're in this construct or that construct, we're watching the news, we get all riled up, this and that and this. What do you think all those energies are that are happening within you? You're feeding something. So we got to remove these attachments. All right. Okay, so we're gonna look at some more questions. Oh man. See, this is okay. So everybody was saying to me, Matt, I'm sorry you couldn't make money on this spiritual hangout website for this reason, this reason, this reason. Like, I'm like, I wasn't doing this for money, the spiritual hangout thing. It was so I can say whatever I want and not have any damage done. Do you realize what I've just said? So it would be private. And this is why I have to be careful. Maybe like I should try again to do the spiritual hangout. I'm literally, this is my intent here. It's not to, it's to keep everything to where no damage can occur. Anyways, I'm like a firecracker. I don't stop. Okay. Hi, Matt. Do you believe in the flat earth? Someone just writes. I just told you the moon didn't exist. The flat earth is like 9/11. It doesn't matter what you believe or what you don't believe. I could feed you something right now to where you might even believe it. I could be like, hey, the earth is not round or flat. It's this whole, and I can tell you just like I did with the moon. It was a bunch of things that you're feeding into. It's a concept. Who cares if the earth is flat or round? Who cares this crap? Someone writes, chemo will kill you before the cancer will. One can live longer with cancer than chemo treatments. You might have, a person might have cancer and live to an old age. You still want to go to the doctors? The kids that follow this construct? That's up to you. I'm just reading. Okay. Okay. Hi, Matt. See, I got to do the spiritual. I should bring that website back. I should bring it back. Hi, Matt. You said once something about people wasting time in their heads, playing around with fantasy or unhealthy thoughts. You said this takes you away from the spiritual. Can you please talk more about this? What are the best ways to stop? In times of stress, I often do this a lot, especially replaying things I regret or things that made me feel bad. How can I find more peace? Thank you. Trust me, I'm on an ongoing search for peace. And the more I do it, the more it's like layers and layers. There are some times where I'm blessed with extreme levels of peace, which lasts me a very long time. Sometimes not. Okay, so what we were saying, what I was saying here was, we gave this example earlier. Let's say a person compliments you. You're walking down the street, you're a married woman, a man compliments you, and all of a sudden you have this hormonal reaction. It's natural, it's a bodily reaction, but you have a choice on what you can do at this point in time right now. You can go into the hormonal, bodily, physical reactions and start to loop it in your head over and over again, kind of like fantasizing about it. The frills and the vibrations of this whole entire thing plays out, and it feels really, 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 really good. Or like we can stop anger, you can focus, don't go into the tension about it, go gone into fantasy world, just be present and just watch it dissipate and watch it go. That would be the healthier thing to do. Not because it's the right thing to do, it is the right thing to do, but not only because it's the right thing to do, on a spiritual level, spiritual energy is like currency. It is the greatest, grandest currency there is. It's better than money. And when you play with these frills, those tingly vibrations and all those different things that are kind of like those feelings and stuff, that's your energy going away. That's pretty much you giving your, that's like an orgasm on some level, lower level, of you just giving your energy away. And then you want more peace. The more spiritual energy you have, the more power you have in the spirit world to where you can actually function better in the spirit world to keep these things out to where you have more peace. So if you start playing with things like that, you're going to be drained and miserable more often. Hence, this is why we want to be better people. That's not the only reason we want to be better people, but what I'm doing right now is giving you a map, kind of like psychologists do and other things like that, of things that happen in the spirit world. But again, I am just another man, and there are multiple possibilities and situations and scenarios that can or trick us, or whatever it is. So the key is to be the best you can be. And again, the shortcut is to go directly to the source of all life and feed and get your energy from there. It's the cleanest source. I want to change, I'm sorry. It's the cleanest source of energy. It's the most potent and most powerful. And if you're feeding off of other people, it's dirty energy. It's, you're going to have more misery and stuff like this. Me personally, being on this path is a very blessed path it's a very blessed path, meaning like in the physical realm, you don't win arguments. You get smacked around. Everyone has their ha-ha at you. All of these different things. But you can't lose. You have your peace. You have your life. You are not, you learn to not be affected by the ha-has. You are okay with the ha-has now. You don't start hating on that person because now you're drifting and now you're hating on them. You're just giving energy away. And now you're going to be more miserable. We have to continually work. This isn't easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm telling you what the shortcut is. I'm sorry for just hating on that person, even though they just smacked me in the face, spiritually and spiritually, like, ha, ha, ha. I did this afterwards. I screwed up because I should know better to not give my energy away. You have not gifted that other person peace, extra energy to learn and grow, but you have gifted this to me, so I should know better. Thank you. Sorry. Every moment and every second of every day, every moment and every second is literally like watching everything you think, you vibrate, whatever it is. Sorry, right back on track. Sometimes I say sorry 30 times in 10 minutes. So, so back to this question, you want to know about peace? Go direct. Do the best you can do. Don't play around. Keep everything in. Don't hate on the person. Try not to argue. I mean, we're not perfect. There's arguing you with a loved one, with a spouse, whatever. You know, that's like your inner reality. This is just, you don't want to try to keep it from your energy being drained. Don't do things you're not supposed to be doing. Like if you're a married woman fantasizing about other men, if you can't, I mean, sorry, like maybe you have to say sorry 30 times because you're in such this, you're so dug deep down into that, meaning like it's like reflex. This is just what you've done all the time, but now you want to change. That's fine. And you can't control yourself. Sorry 30 times in 10 minutes is okay. You're trying. And you got to keep going. It's like this ongoing, never-ending thing. It's like there's no giving up, no going into guilt, because that's another way of giving energy away, all the bad stuff. So someone was asking the good stuff, gratitude, these are the higher energies. It's almost like you have to fight for it because those are hidden under the bad stuff. They might already be there and you don't even realize it because of the things we're doing. But this number one shortcut is like, seriously, okay, tonight's the night. I'm ready to change. I'm sorry. And then starting this path that we're talking about. Okay. And maybe you have to work on one thing first and then the next and then the next. whatever. It's a, let's see. Okay. Spiritual question. On your raw food story video, you mentioned that you had a period of stress with the audio clarity, refunding $2 million and the 2 lawsuits. There's more than 2 lawsuits since then, but not all audio clear. Even though you were eating a clean raw diet, were you concerned about the effects of stress on your body? Cortisol production, cancers and tumors and stress has been linked to cancer and other illnesses in some studies, but more studies are needed. Of course, more studies are needed. Okay, we were just talking about getting rid of tensions. Some people will call that stress. Anger is tension. Greed is tension. You can either feed it or not. So me personally, I'd be walking around all the time with this injury internally where I was like really tight there. I was like on an ongoing basis tense. I was on an ongoing basis tense there. It hurt. There was physical pain. And I learned in my reality to relax that pain in all instances that I possibly could. So we have our 5 senses, which are 1 point of sensation. Hearing is 1 point. You can focus just on hearing. It's 1 point. Feeling is a bunch of points. It's everywhere. But it's basically feeling. It's a kind of like 1 point. Smelling, 1 point. Sight is what you see. These are scientifically measured senses. Now, the 6th sense is tens of thousands, thousands of points. And this is what we need to learn. So you might be walking around needing to learn to relax all these tension areas of your physical disease, possibly. And this could take a very long time. It took me a couple of years, maybe even more. And the shortcuts are really good. Let me tell you. So this whole entire natural doctor map that you're describing right now, we're talking about cortisol production, all these different things. Stress. What is stress? It's tension. It can't be measured. They're just saying, do they measure stress through amounts of cortisol that's in your bloodstream? What is stress? They don't know. It's invisible. Stress is invisible. So they can't measure it except for the fact that you have cortisol levels. And it seems to be that when you're in stress, tension, cortisol levels rise up. That's the only way to measure it. But what is the stress? Oh, you call it like, because we are stressed out about money. Okay, so you're worried about money. So that's what stress is? Being worried about money is causing cortisol levels to go up? No. Being worried about money is causing a reaction. Anger, like fantasizing about someone probably raises cortisol levels. It's like you're feeding something your energy. I got to bring this website back. So it's like, if you look at cortisol levels, what is it that you're worried about money? What is it that's causing pain and suffering? It's unknown. It's in the spirit world. It's unknown. All right. Often the mind and body give separate inaccurate messages. For example, when experiencing anxiety, one can feel like there is a large empty space in the chest. When really there isn't, but feels real. Putting that specific example aside, do you have any thoughts on this subject to the mind and body not connecting exactly and correctly when providing thoughts and messages to us? Okay, so when a person is in their mind completely worried about money, what's happening is, if you were to look at them, it looked like they're zoned out, staring into outer space. That's what it would look like. What they're pretty much doing, what is that? What is zoning out like that? What is it they're doing? They're thinking in their head. They're not even seeing the world in front of them. So how are they going to even feel what's going on? So yes, there's a big disconnection between mind and body in many cases. And generally when we are zoned out like that, there's a lot of tension. We're not seeing the tension. It's almost like painful. So if we come out of that zoning, it's like, ow, I don't want to go, ow, that tension, you just, I'm going back. So relaxing is like a critical thing we could be doing for health. Critical. And I'm telling you, this path is the grandest, greatest path there is. Maybe not in this egotistical world, you're going to be the loser. But let me tell you, if you go directly to the source of all living things, change, sorry, every moment from this time forward, you realize you do, you're conscious of what you do, sorry, like this is right here, you're untouchable now. You might go through lots of issues, you might get tested, all sorts of things can happen, but the things that really matter, which are not worldly things, are taken care of. It's like many of us, we make choices based off of the physical realm, and we get our reward, but we suffer in the spiritual realm with more pain and suffering. This doesn't mean go quit your job, get a divorce, or anything like this. No. I'm just saying, like, have you seen Notebook? Where this woman meets the guy of her dreams and then her mom gets him to go with this other guy who's rich and all these other things. The mom actually made the mistake of going for the man that was rich and was going to keep her comfort. And yes, she's going to have her reward in the physical world. But there's this deep, she would go and even see the other guy 30 years later, just wondering what life could have been like. World power, true power comes from being powerless. I'm not saying get rid of your money or do anything like that. No. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to like try to have power over someone, that's not true power. It's being powerless. Then nothing can touch you with all the other stuff we talked about. All right. I'm going to, how are we doing on, okay. We should do a survey to see if people like this or not. Okay, it's been 1 hour. Someone wrote, how about the holographic universe? It's just one 9/11 to the next 9/11 to the next one. It's all about what you feed your mind into. Okay, so the holographic universe. First off, people use the term universe as if it's the source of life. If you go to the dictionary, or go to Google as the new dictionary, and type in definition of universe, it's going to say it is all the solar systems and planets composed into one. It is nothing to do with spiritual. It is a physical object that is not the creator of all living things. Maybe the creator created this universe, and maybe this is a holographic world, but why are you concerned about it? Maybe you should be more concerned about changing and doing the best you can. What's up, Aaron Mansour? Okay. Matt, when you say that sometimes you're saying sorry, to whom or what are you saying sorry to? Is it to yourself or someone else? No, it's not to myself. I'm saying sorry to the one who created me, the highest spirit of all, the creator of all living things. The source is intelligent, more intelligent. It is God. Whatever it is, that is what you say sorry to. The one that gave you life. All right, guys, this is good because I know people aren't going to be asking questions in the future Hangouts. I just know that's how it goes. So what I'm going to do, Crystal, can you compile all the questions I didn't answer on all these pages and put them in a document, and I could do it next week because I don't want to end up everyone mad at me because I don't have questions and stuff like this. Okay. I forget it. I should do it, the website. People, are you willing to go there? It's not about the money. It's not about the money for me. It's about getting the serious people, keeping it private, etc., etc. Anyways, this is Matt Monarch, rocking the house. Why the hell I'm not going to submit myself to what we talked about in this Hangout. And we'll see you next time. The Raw Food World TV. Finish.